Hey, how's it going? This is Melinda and welcome to my channel. So, what if I told you that I had a stack of 9 records that I would be willing to sell to you for about $700 or $800? A lot of you would probably be like, okay, you better bring the good stuff. These better be rare records, hard to find records, amazing stuff, right? And I would agree, that would be me. Some of you would probably just say, you're crazy. It doesn't matter what it is. That's really ridiculous. And I would agree with you too. Unfortunately, these are records that we saw, my husband and I, when we went to an antique store recently. Records that most of us would probably want or already have in our collection, but the prices were absolutely insane, in my opinion, and from the research I've done about what these records sell for. So it kind of breaks my heart. You know, I have been showing and doing videos like this in the past for a record chain that tends to want to charge way too much money for popular and common records. Same here, only they've taken it up a notch. Maybe this record store chain owner also owns this antique store. But in all seriousness, it wasn't just one booth at an antique store that was charging too much money. It was several. It was the whole antique store. And it was a shame because in the past, I have found amazing records from antique stores. Like, let's just show a couple, for example. This is one. This is a Mobile Fidelity Help by the Beatles. This is an incredible record, and look how clean and beautiful. I got a great deal, and I found it at an antique store. And I also was able to buy that Beatles mono box set at an antique store. Here's another one, and I only paid $8 for this. I know you all are thinking, well, it's Air Supply, so who cares, right? But I love Air Supply. They hold a soft spot in my heart. This isn't one of the more common Mobile Fidelity releases you could find. And it was $8, and it was absolutely mint. It's gorgeous. It looks and plays wonderfully. Both of these records do. And like I said, I have found some and most of my best deals. They've been at antique stores. So I'm not making this video with pleasure, but I am poking fun a little bit because the antique stores are either picked from, or when they have great records, they're charging outrageous prices now. And that breaks my heart to say. It really does, because I used to enjoy going to antique stores. And my husband and I, we still like going to antique stores, not for vinyl records per se. We just like looking at antiques. We like finding things that we remember from our childhood. It's just something fun that we like to do. And we recently went to a wedding near Memphis, Tennessee, and there was an antique store close to where we were staying. So we decided to go in and give it a peek. So let me be clear. I'm not selling my copies of these records for $750 to $800, although that would be very tempting. And the records I'm going to show, I want to make crystal clear. I did not buy the ones that I'm going to be showing you at the prices that I saw at the antique store. I happen to have all of the records already, but the prices they were asking were so shocking. So let's go ahead and get into it. First off is David Bowie. And yes, I have been slowly trying to build my early to original first pressings copies of Bowie records. And I have a new one that I hope to show in a future video. Well, I was at this antique store at one of the many booths that sold vinyl, and I saw one that a lot of people would love to have in their collection. I already have it. Again, I repeat, these are records I already had. I did not buy a single record at this antique store, and the prices, once you see the prices, you'll understand why. Here is David Bowie's Diamond Dogs. This is a great record. I like all of that early Bowie stuff. I even love Let's Dance. Nearly every record he has is great. And this is an early, if not a first pressing, of David Bowie's Diamond Dogs. So when I saw it at this antique store, I was curious. What are they selling it for? And I couldn't find a price. And then I finally was able to look inside the album cover, and that's where they had written the price. And they wanted $89.50 for it. And they marked it in permanent ink inside the cover. I don't know if that takes away from the value of a record. When it's on the inside, it probably doesn't hurt it too much, but still, $89.50. I quickly looked to see if it was one of those rare ones where the, he kind of is like a dog here. It's kind of yucky to have to talk about, but on the really rare ones that are worth a lot of money, it's like got the dog genitalia on it. So I immediately looked to see, because if it had that, yes, that would have definitely been an understandable price. But no. And on average, this record sells for $25 and recently sold for $31. So I think $89.50 is way off the mark. And it's funny because, like, when I go to records or antique stores, I always imagine these antique dealers as being kind of experts and they know what they're doing when it comes to pricing. That has totally gone out the window for me. I no longer even think about them being the experts and taking their prices. I just kind of go by gut feeling. If I see something and it looks good, the price seems fair to me, I'll just go ahead and pick it up. But wow, when it comes to vinyl records, they were shooting high. And I have a feeling that record is still sitting in the bin. Next up is one we've been talking about a lot lately, Steely Dan's Pretzel Logic. They had a copy just like the one I'm showing here. It was on this ABC black label. It was clean. Mine has a little discoloration on it from a price tag back in the day. Theirs did not have that, but the vinyl looked a little worse than what I have in my own personal collection. So I thought, well, this is a record a lot of people are wanting right now. It's talked about a lot here in the vinyl community. But here's the deal. They wanted $79.50 for this record, and it last sold for $22.50. So, again, I don't know where they're getting their pricing. It's insane. This is an antique store, and I just don't understand how they think they can price it like that. And to be honest with you, if I owned an antique store and I had a booth, I would price them to sell. The more people that handle them and open them up and let their kids play with them, the less, the worse the condition's going to get on these records. So you think that they get them in, they would price them to sell and get them out of there. I can't imagine someone paid $79.50 for that copy of Pretzel Logic. There were visible scratches on that record. Next up is one near and dear to my heart. And of course I already have, Van Halen. I love the first album. It's a classic. I love every Van Halen album, let me be honest with you. Some I like better than others, but of course the original Van Halen is great. And I'm showing a Japanese copy, and there were several at this antique store. And early on when I started vinyl collecting, some people that I were watching on YouTube turned me on to Japanese pressings. So one thing for sure, the people who owned Japanese copies took very, very good care of them. And the vinyl itself, the vinyl formula they used was better. It has less clicks and pops. It has a little bit, sometimes, not always, sometimes I find the Japanese pressings have a little bit of a lower bass. But you can turn up the bass and make them sound better. I still say Japanese pressings, I don't seek after them anymore. but they're not bad. They're pretty good. You trade off a little bass, and you don't get the pops and clicks. How about that? That's kind of the trade-off. You get a very clean sounding copy and maybe a little less bass. Van Halen, here we go. A beautiful, beautiful copy of this. And they had a nice copy. They were wanting $99 for this. It was unbelievable when I saw it. This on average sells for $25, you guys. I mean, can you imagine how you would feel if you paid $99 for this and then you somehow saw, if you decided to enter it into Discogs, on average, it sells for $25. You know, the Japanese pressings are really pretty common. Of course, you're paying a little more maybe for them if you find them in the United States. And the obi is very cool and it's very unique. I get all that, and that's why I bought them very early on when I started collecting vinyl. I wanted these Van Halen records on Japanese pressings, but not for $99, folks, not even close. So that was really shocking to me. Again, here we go. Van Halen 2. They had a Japanese pressing just like the one I'm showing you here. They wanted $85 for it. And yes, it was in good condition. It was, nothing. I didn't see major scratches. It looked like it had been played. I could tell it had been played. $85 for Van Halen 2. You can buy this, a Japanese pressing, on Discogs on average for $28. And just recently it sold for $16. So $85, you guys, at an antique store. I hope that these records are still sitting in that bin and that they eventually will lower their prices, because that was really, really crazy. I mean, that's just shocking. $85 for one record. And it's a common record. Queen Hot Space. Now, I have this one because I own that Queen box set. And I like this album a lot. Well, I say I like it a lot. I have memories of it, put it that way. I love the song Under Pressure, and I liked, at the time, not as much anymore, but I liked the direction. I kind of liked that synthesizer sound. I was in the 6th grade when this came out. But the song Body Language, when you are a 12-year-old little girl, it's kind of embarrassing, especially if you hear it when you're sitting beside a boy or something. It's just kind of awkward. But I liked the synthesizer sounds of that song. I thought it was cool. And of course, I love Under Pressure. This is a really strange album. And at this antique store, they had it for $85 once again. What a crazy price, when on average it sells for about $22. I mean, can you believe that? I mean, I hope it's still sitting there. I hope no one has bought it. It's a Queen record, yes. Is it one of their best? I don't think so. I think it's different and a good take. They were following the trends of that time. The guitars were put down a little bit. The synthesizers were going. It's not exactly a classic, but it's still Queen. So, but wow, what an incredible price. I can't imagine anybody paying that much for that record, especially for the quality of the songs. It's just not one of their better songs, or albums, I should say. Next up, and I admit, I have a terrible copy of this record, you guys. This is one of those that, okay, my daughter was collecting vinyl before I was, and she had a boyfriend, and they were buying together. When they broke up, he gave her the entire collection, and then she picked what she wanted, and she gave the rest of those records to me. So that's what I have. I have not upgraded this record yet. It is Deep Purple Machine Head. It's a classic. My vinyl sounds pretty good, but wow, what a terrible looking, faded album cover. Steve S., whoever you were, I can't believe you wrote your name this big only to get rid of the record later on, because by the looks of it, you really wanted this record and you wanted to make sure it didn't get lost. It's a cool record. Smoke on the Water is a classic, and I hope to get into Deep Purple a little bit more. It's a band that I just haven't quite grabbed onto yet. Anyway, I saw a Japanese pressing of this record, much cleaner looking than the album cover. The vinyl itself was similar to what I have. It was pretty nice. Not great, but pretty nice. Okay, so I got this copy for free from my daughter. At this record store, if you wanted to get it, it was $85. Absolutely insane. You know, you're starting to see a pattern here. They just all of a sudden started thinking every record we have with a Japanese obi is worth $85. Well, I don't think so. So I did not buy it. This did not get an upgrade at that time. Next up is such a common record. It's a good one, but it is still not an expensive record to buy. But if you want to buy it at that antique store, and I have an exact copy of what they were selling, it's Don't Look Back by Boston. This is a Japanese pressing. It's very nice. I have a Friday Music version that I think sounds a little bit better. I really enjoy a lot. But if you want to buy this copy in similar condition than what I own, again, $85. Can you imagine paying $85 for Don't Look Back by Boston? Unbelievable. These prices are really crazy. Again, it breaks my heart in some ways. Yes, I think it's funny. I'm laughing as I make this video, but in some ways, because I found so many great records from antique stores in the past, it breaks my heart a little bit. It's pretty crazy. Here is another one that is a classic. I own the box set. I don't have this particular record or an original. I saw it one time for only $8, and I kind of wish I had picked up the original, but I let it go because I already had this. This is from the box set of The Police, the Half-Speed Masters from Abbey Road Studios. So I bought that box set. I got a really good deal on it, and for the most part, I'm happy. I'll be honest, when it comes to that box set versus originals, I have some of the originals, and I think they sound a little better than what's on the box set. But again, the Police box set is very nice. It's clean records. You're not going to get those pops and clicks. It sounds really, really nice. Just not maybe as good as the originals. Anyway, they had a Japanese pressing of Zenyatta Mandata by The Police. I love The Police. I think their music was really great. And when I hear some of those songs, it takes me back to early middle school. I love that early 80s music so much more than the mid 80s and the later 80s. They wanted, again, $85 for this Japanese pressing. Really, really crazy. And it last sold for $26 on Discogs and sells for an average of about $23. So I just don't know where they're coming up with these prices. I have a feeling what they do is they look for the highest price, like with the original Van Halen album. The highest it's ever sold for the original debut album by Van Halen was $125. So I think they think, okay, well, we won't charge $125, we'll charge $99. And they thought, we'll give people a deal. But you know, I don't know who paid $125 for that record. Maybe it was still sealed. Maybe the whole band had signed it. There's so many reasons why something goes for an incredible price. And unfortunately, when it comes to Discogs, when someone sees something go for that high of a price, they don't know the details of why it went for that high price. Instead, they automatically think, well, if theirs is worth that much money, so is mine. And they go ahead and charge theirs accordingly. this next record, it takes the cake. It is a crazy price. It's a bad drum roll. You know, I'm not excited about this at all. I think it's pretty pitiful. But it's a great record. You know, Led Zeppelin, Houses of the Holy. It's one of my favorites by Led Zeppelin, and I truly love the music of it. This is my personal Japanese pressing, and I made a video about a month ago talking about this pressing, and I think the vocals are very, very brittle. I don't think this Japanese pressing is very good at all, and I have since found a better version. It was a reissue from the 70s that I absolutely love and think is great. So this one, you know, if you can get it for a few bucks, okay. It's okay. I don't think it's one of the best sounding versions of this record. I think you could do a lot better. Guess what? This antique store, the booth I was in, they wanted $125 for this record. And I can tell you right now, I have it. It's not worth it. It doesn't sound $125 worth to my ears at all. On average, this one sells for $46. So you, my friends, if you see this one, I don't even know if I would pick it up for $46 now that I know the sound quality of it. It's okay. It's not great. You can do better for less money. So unfortunately, the antique stores and the deals I used to find have dried up. And this antique store near Memphis, Tennessee solidified my opinion on that. Let me know in the comments, are you still finding great deals at antique stores, or are you finding clunkers like this? I would really love to hear what you think. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and the notification bell. Please subscribe, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.